Hello everyone, myself Afsha, English lecturer at Ahmedabad High School and Junior College. In our previous class, we have completed our 9th lesson from into second year, right? So today let us proceed towards our unit 10, that is Polonious advice to his son. It is a very inspiring poem actually. It is a poem that is very inspiring. This poem is written by William Shakespeare. I hope you all have come across this name in your life, right? So let us proceed towards the reading part. Let us see what has been given in the short description about our poem. So parents constantly feel anxious about the welfare of their children. They believe that being experienced on several fronts, they have the ability to guide youngsters. Recall the first day you attended college. Your parents probably advised you about the need to focus on your studies, counsel you about the kind of friends you should make, and warned you about the temptations you should avoid. So it is about your common experience, real life experience, in which your parents might have given you some suggestions, some guidance before you entered the college, right? They might have told you how to make the friends, what kind of friends you should have, right? How to behave at what times, right? And they might have warned you what you should not do, right? So let us proceed towards our author's introduction, that is the poet's introduction, that is William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born in the year 1564 and he left the world in the year 1616. So he was a poet from the 15th century. Hailed as not of an age but of all times, was born to John Shakespeare and Mary Arden at Stratford upon Avon. So his parents were John Shakespeare and Mary Arden. Regarded as the greatest writer in English, Shakespeare wrote 38 plays between 1590 and 1612. So he is considered as one of the greatest writer in English language, in English literature we can say. And he wrote approximately 38 plays. Play is nothing but drama, right? So 38 plays in between 1590 to 1612. That is in 22 years we can say. They include comedies like The Merchant of Venice and Twelfth Night, tragedies like Othello and King Lear's, historical dramas like Julius Caesar and Richard II. He was popularly referred to as the Bard of Avon. So, some of his famous writings were comedies like The Merchant of Venice and tragedies like Othello and historical dramas like Julius Caesar. There are actually 2 examples for each have been given, but I have written only one that will be enough for your examination point of view, right? He was given the title as Bard of Avon. Just please do remember this thing. So it was the title that was given to Shakespeare. That was all about our author. Now let us proceed towards the short description of our poem that has been given in the beginning of your poem. The present poem is a part of Shakespeare's popular tragedy Hamlet. So this poem is taken from a tragedy by name Hamlet, right? A collection from this. Act 1, Scene 3. So there is a tragedical story Hamlet, right? In which Act 1 and Scene 3 have been taken, that is Polonious' advice to his son. Polonious is a chief counselor of King Claudius. So who was Polonius? He was a chief counselor in a kingdom of King Claudius. His son Latus is about to leave. So his son, right, here the name is Polonious' advice to his son, right? So there is a piece of advice that Polonius, who was a chief counselor at the kingdom of King Claudius, is giving a piece of advice to his son whose name was Latus. Is about to leave for France to join a university. When he was giving this advice, when Latus was about to leave for France to join in a new university for his higher education, it is then that Polonius offers him his blessings and many pieces of advice. Polonius reveals in his desire to be sincere father who is concerned about the welfare of his son. Shakespeare is at his best in wit and wisdom. The poet justifies his own statement Brevity is the soul of wit. So here what will happen in his piece of advice, Polonious, right, reveals his desire to act as a sincere father by showing a guidance, right, by showing the path, by giving some guidance to his son, that is Latus. Polonius advises his son to think well before speaking and to think carefully before doing something. He asks him to be friendly with others but wants him not to cross the limits of decorum. So, the first advice that has been given by Polonius to his son is, before speaking, he have to think, right? So, he means to say that think before saying anything. And the second advice he gives to his son is, be friendly with others but do not cross your limits. He encourages Latus to strike friendship with others but cautions him to distinguish between a true and a false friend. He also added that before making a friend, you have to be conscious in separating a true and a false friend. You have to look properly, right? You have to identify properly who is your true friend and who is your false friend. He exhorts his son to avoid fights. However, if a conflict is inevitable, then one should put fear into the opponent. So what he is advising? To stay away from the fights, right? And he also added that if a conflict is inevitable, right, that is that no one can stop that, then one should put fear into the opponent. He also wants his son to hear patiently what others say but not necessarily follow the advice. And he also advises his son to listen to the others patiently. You have to wait and watch what others want to say, but it is not mandatory that you have to follow the advice given by others. His son may buy expensive clothes, but the clothes should not look gaudy, right? And what did he add? That you can buy expensive clothes, but it should not look gaudy. What is meaning of gaudy? Something that is very bright or decorative but which will look very cheaper, right? His most famous piece of advice is not to lend or borrow money. Lending leads to loss of money and misunderstanding among friends. Finally, Polonius tells his son to be true to himself, right? The main thing that he advises his son is to never lend or borrow the money. Because if you borrow the money, you have to pay it back. You will be in debt. And if you lend the money, you will definitely lose the money as well as your friend. So he asked him not to involve in such scenarios, right? And finally, Polonius concluded, right, by advising his son to be true to himself, right? He wants his son to be real but not to be fake. So this was all about a short description about our poem. Now let us proceed towards our reading session. There my blessings with thee. Thee here refers to you. In a poetic language, thee is nothing but you, the second person. So here the Polonius is beginning by saying that here my blessings are with you, because it is at the time of farewell, right? When his son Latus was moving out for the France, was starting for this France, right? So he started by saying, my blessings are always with you. And these few percepts in the memory, see your character, give the thoughts no tongue. So what did he add here? And these few percepts, what is the meaning of percepts? A rule about how to behave or what to think. So percept is a rule about how to behave or what to think, right? So what did he added here? And these few rules, right, in the memory, you have to keep in your memory. See your character, give the thoughts no tongue, right? Always maintain your character and give your thoughts no tongue, right? Before speaking, you have to think twice. Nor any unproportioned thought is act. So what he said, not any unproportioned. What's the meaning of unproportioned? That is not proportioned. That is not suitable at this situation. You have to keep such kind of thoughts away from you. Be you familiar but by no means vulgar. Those friends you have and their adoption triad, right? And what did he added here? Be familiar with the friends that are there. Those are there with you, right? But never ever be vulgar to them. If you even come to know who is your true friend or who is your false friend, don't be vulgar with them. grapple them to the soul with hoops of steel. What's the meaning of grapple? Grapple is nothing but to get hold of somebody, okay? Grapple them to the soul with hoops of steel. The meaning of hoops here is a large metal or a plastic ring, we can say. So he is asking his son to grapple your friends, to hold your friends with hoops of steel, with rings of steel that will be very strong enough to maintain your relationships for a longer time. But do not dull the palm with entertainment. Of each new hast, unfledged comrade beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, be errant that the opposed may beware of you. So what is adding here? You should always behave like an unfledged comrade. What's the meaning of unfledged comrade here? It's a newly hatched bird. It's a newly hatched bird which even do not develop its feathers. Okay, so Polonious is saying that you are an unfledged comrade now. Even you have not developed your feathers. So you have to be very careful in your new life. In the beginning of your new life, we can say. And what he is adding here? Of entrance to a quarrel, right? But being in, you should first of all avoid the quarrels, avoid the fights. But once if you are in, then you should be aware that your opponent should be feared of you. You should have that much of power in you. Give every man the ear, but few the voice. What does it mean here? Give every man the ear. It means that you should listen to everyone, right? But few the voice. But you should not give your words to everyone. You should not speak in front of everyone, right? Take each man's censure. What is the meaning of censure here? Advice, we can say, right? Or the exact meaning of censure will be to tell somebody in a strong and formal way that he has done something wrong, but reserve the judgment, but never judge others. Just inform others if they are wrong, but don't judge them. Costly the habit as the purse you can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy. So here what he is saying, costly the habit. You can buy clothes as expensive as you want, as expensive how much you can afford, but take care that it should not look gaudy. What is the meaning of gaudy here? As I have told you earlier, gaudy is nothing but very bright and decorated and therefore looks very unpleasant, very cheap, as I have told you. So the clothes that you are going to buy doesn't matter how much expensive they are, but it should not look gaudy. For the apparel often proclaims the man, and they in the France of the best rank and station are of the most select and general chief in that neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan often loses both itself and friend. So what is saying here? For the apparel often proclaims the man. Apparel is something that is attire, the dressing sense that you are following, right? Often proclaims the man. The meaning of proclaim is to make something known officially or publicly. So your attire, your apparel will make you public. That is what the reason you have to take care of your clothes, right? You have to wear proper and formal clothes in your life. And the other advice he is giving is neither a borrower nor a lender be. You should always try not to become a borrower as well as lender. What is the meaning of borrower here? Borrower is the one who is borrowing the money, who is asking for the money for others. And lender is the one who gives the money to others, right, as a debt, we can say. So he is asking his son not to be a borrower or a lender, because if you become a borrower, then you will be in complete debt. And if you become a lender, then you will definitely lose your money as well as the friend to whom you are lending the money. For loan often loses both itself and friend. So as I have told you, loan often loses itself in the sense money here and friend obviously. And borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. And borrowing, what will happen? It will dulls the edge of husbandry, that is farming. This above all to thine own self be true. Thine in the sense yours. In poetic language, thine is nothing but yours. So here he is adding, this above all to thine own self be true. Thine in the sense yours, as I have told you. He is asking his son to be true. right? And it must follow as the night and day. Doesn't matter it is a night time or the daytime. Doesn't matter there is someone to look at you or not. But you have to be true. You should not act in a fake way. Thou can not then be false to any man. Farewell by blessing season. This is thee. So what he said? Thou can. Actually CNST. The meaning of canst is nothing but can in poetic language. Then only you can not then be false to any man. If you maintain your trueness, the reality, all the day and night time, then only you can be correct to each and every person. Then only you will not act as a false man, right? And he concludes his advice by saying, farewell, my blessing season, this is you. So at last he is giving blessings to his son, who? Polonious, to his son, that is Latus. So this was a very inspiring poem in which a father advises his son how to behave in a new university, in a new college, or else we can say in his new proceeding life. So I hope you all have understood this poem and have taken the inspiration from this. Let us continue in our next class. Thank you.